Hi, my name is Paul W. Downs, and I feel thrilled about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
That's very nice.
It's true. It's thrilling.
Hey there. Welcome to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. I'm Conan O'Brien, joined here by the chuckling Matt Gourley. Sona Movsesian. How are you, Sona?
Am I right?
You what?
I'm all right.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I said that. I mumbled.
I think you said...
I'm all right.
Am I right?
Am I right?
Yeah, am I right?
And then I did a weak-ass thumbs up.
It's also weird how you kind of like turned it towards yourself.
I don't like it.
Everything you did just now was just wrong.
Are you an AI?
Yeah, I think you are AI.
Every time you're like, well, hey, Sona, it makes me so uncomfortable.
You know,
and we've
weird,
talked
yeah.
about it before. I hate it.
People get very scared about AI. I have been working very hard to have AI replace you, Sona.
Oh.
And I have thousands of servers trying to learn Sona's rhythms.
Impossible.
They've all exploded. Yeah. They've exploded, and they're in these salt mines. They keep them in salt mines deep under the ground in Utah. And I've spent most of the money I've made in show business on all these servers.
Oh, thank you.
They overheat and explode because they cannot match the Movsesian rhythms. They don't make sense. AI can't figure out.
She just moves at a different speed.
Who's she?
Me.
Oh, you're talking about yourself?
Yeah.
What are you, Tyler, the Creator?
Oh, God. Oh, can I just say, if an AI came in and just said nothing that made sense, I'd be like, that's a great AI of Conan.
I know. Yeah, there's plenty of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean plenty of those? What do you mean?
AIs that don't make any sense.
Oh, yeah. I'm just
It's
saying.
getting so good, though. I have
Not
friends.
the guys I'm talking to.
What?
These AIs.
Are you like,
Oh,
do you have a
yeah.
relationship with an AI?
I do. My wife is an AI.
Do you? She's a beautiful AI.
Yeah.
Well, I had to splurge in one area and then scrimp in another.
I don't know. Look.
I did have a conversation with a Shakespeare AI once. Like, you could go to this website. Okay,
Matt.
Hold on. Don't make fun of me.
No. Let's hear him
Yes,
out.
thank you.
We need
Thank
some
you.
content
I
for
was
the
just
top
curious.
of the show.
Okay.
So
And-
far, we haven't really hit a gusher. So
Yeah.
let's hope this is it.
Unless you think I'm some kind of nerd, I only asked him about James Bond.
So you talk to an AI Shakespeare. So you have a lot of free time. That's what I'm getting.
No,
From this
I'm
story.
busy talking to Shakespeare on AI.
How did you find? Did someone send it to you and was like, "Oh, you'd love this,
No,
Matt"?
I don't know. So like
Oh.
maybe someone sent it or I heard about it like on a show or something. I don't remember.
I've never
This was
done AI.
early AI days though.
Oh, okay, because you wouldn't do that now.
No, I'm too. I was AI before it was cool.
You were doing AI back in the 80s.
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
When it was basically Pong.
yeah, war games.
Did you guys hear that? Sorry to bust
No,
in.
anything.
Yeah,
Because there's an old saying here, it doesn't matter what you three talk about, it'll be good. This is proof that it's not.
Well, I
we
wanna
need
say
this anyway because I'm going to
we
edit
got
all that
nothing.
out. So you go
Let's
ahead.
start
I
again.
was just going to say, okay.
Hold on a sec. Hey there. Welcome to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend.
We're doing a do-over?
Yeah, we're going to do it over
start
again.
over.
Because you know what?
Because I don't want to do that
Guess
again.
what?
Yeah.
That was a terrible top.
No, Yeah.
No,
for starting
Blay,
over,
I've
I'd
seen
like
it.
to- I'd
Let's
like to
do it
talk to-
again. Do it again.
Blay, guess what?
And go.
No one's limbo bar is lower than yours. You're like, hey man, it was great. You guys were talking and there was talking.
People
No.
love this shit.
No.
And go again.
Go again. Hey there, and welcome to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. And we're going to get a good top out of this show if it's the last thing I do.
What do you mean
Conan-
get a good top out of this show?
Yeah.
It's the
Is
beginning
that-
of the show.
Is that a phrase? That's jargon?
Again.
Top of the show, baby.
Okay, I'm starting again because
Okay.
that was your instincts today are awful.
Okay. All right.
And yours are too. You
Okay.
both suck. Here we go.
You suck. The fish rots from the head, sir.
That's
you
right.
Suck.
Thank you.
Ouch.
Your suckiness
The
is
fish
trickling
heads
down.
rot from the top.
Yeah.
Hey, Conan O'Brien here. Welcome to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. We've tried 7 times to start this podcast, and the assists I'm getting from my fellow players are just terrible. Instead of passing me the basketball, you guys are tossing it into the stands and then shooting yourselves with a German Luger. Matt, how are you?
I talked to Shakespeare AI the other day. Okay, you got to hear me out on this. I'm telling
Why
you.
are you so determined to ruin the top of the show? This is important to me. I've always wanted a good top of the show.
I'm sorry.
That's ridiculous.
It's been my dream since I was a kid.
Hey, I saw 2 coyotes this morning.
Hey, now we're on to something. What were they doing?
Wow.
They were crossing the street, and I was terrified seeing them do it. It was
That's
very
it?
Frogger.
That happens every day.
No, but it was like really heavy traffic, and I was like, they're gonna die.
Oh,
and then I
you were
was
worried
like,
for them.
do I want? No, I wasn't. I was rooting for the coyotes. I don't want them to die.
No, that's
but
what I
then
said.
I know
you
they'll
were
termite.
worried for them.
But they'll tear
You know what?
Okie
Can I just say
apart.
something, Matt? Everything you've contributed today sucks. You're throwing in. You're not helping. I'm understanding her, and you keep
She
throwing these
misunderstood me.
giant steel anvils
Yeah.
into the conversation and clanging away. And now you're giving me a rap
Yeah,
like we
it's fine.
got
We're
it.
out of time.
No,
We're out of time.
No, we're not out of time. We're gonna get something good. So you saw two coyotes, did
I
you?
did.
Tell me about it.
Now, I'm taking away your speaking privileges for the next year. So, Sona,
Yeah.
curious about these coyotes. A lot of people in this world haven't seen a coyote. It's like a dog, only skinnier.
Hey, you know what? It is. It's like a dog only skinnier. And every time I see him, I'm
You're
like,
trading my content for this?
you shut up. I'm on
Jesus.
fire right now.
She's on fire.
Yeah.
She's got a hot hand, and you keep knocking her royal
Yeah,
flush out of her hand.
You're
And
off.
you're playing Hungry Hungry Hippos in the corner like a drunk idiot. Go ahead, Sona.
Yeah, you're off. I'm on today.
Yeah.
So the coyotes.
Yes, Sona.
So I'm watching them and I'm like, these animals will kill Okie.
Yeah.
Do I
That's your
cheer?
dog, Okie,
Do I
yeah.
cheer for their demise, or do I want them to live? And you know what? I want them to live.
Yes, I root for animals to live in the wild. I
Yeah.
do. Even if they're
Yeah.
coyotes, I root for all animals everywhere. Man, Sona, preach! Preach! You were great today, Sona. That was terrific. We learned about
Yeah.
wildlife and about your neighborhood, and then you.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I ceded the floor for that.
Yeah.
That was really top notch.
Oh, also, I spoke to a Shakespeare AI, and
All
it was
right. I hate the opening, and I apologize to everyone.
I'm listening.
Hey, man, let's just start talking, and whatever we say will be great. And Blay will be like, yeah, man, it was really great.
Look at all the laughs we're having. I rest my case.
having a
Yeah.
good time.
Yeah.
Do you want to
came
start
up
it
the hard
again
way.
and
Nope.
then rap?
Yeah.
Hey, and welcome to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. I'm Conan. You don't need to know the rest. You're going to love today's show. My guest today is co-creator, showrunner, and writer of an actually good show, the Emmy award-winning series that's thought about beforehand. They don't just throw it out there like a bucket of diarrhea. Hacks. I'm thrilled he's here today because he actually makes something people enjoy that has thought, structure, content. Paul W. Downs, welcome.
You didn't pause.
Oh,
Oh my God.
I'm thrilled he's here today. Paul W. Downs, welcome. I am an admirer of your work.
Thank you.
And
Likewise.
and of course, I want to shout out your cohorts on Hacks at the very top.
Mm-hmm.
Your lovely wife.
Yes. Lucia.
Lucia. I want to make sure you said it first because I was afraid that I would.
Oh,
I was looking at like Lucia, but I've also heard it pronounced Lucia.
yep. Lucia. There's a
Lucia.
lot. It is a tricky one.
Jen Stotsky.
Yes.
I
I thought you were waiting for me to say which of the two I was married to, because sometimes that is a question.
I thought it might be a throuple.
Hey, you're not alone if you read the tweets. You know, I don't, but I've heard.
I write the tweets.
Okay.
I'm putting it out there that it's a throuple.
Hey, from your
Because you know
mouth
what? That gets a lot of heat out there. And you just want the clicks.
that's all I want. It's about clicks.
Hacks is a wonderful show.
Thank you.
And I'm always suspicious when a show is going to, and I've run into a bunch of times, and I remembered saying this to Gene Smart and Hannah. I remember telling them when I've bumped into them that I'm suspicious when a show is going to portray people that are trying to create comedy, think of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I think usually it goes wrong
Mhm.
because. And it's difficult, but if there's a movie that's portraying someone sculpting, a sculptor's going to watch it and go, "That's not how you do it."
oh my God.
Well, that's how sculptors talk.
What
Yeah.
happened to
In
this
Austria.
sculptor?
This sculptor, by the way, was injured.
Yeah, I got that far.
A
Marble
chisel
fell on him.
A
Yeah.
chisel fell from a high height and did hurt his brain.
What happened?
It's not, I think he's attempting an accent, but it's more of a like actual
This is an
disability.
It's an
injured
injury. Yeah.
guy, and he's this is not a foreign man. This is a man.
Oh,
who's,
it's not a foreign man.
no,
Oh,
he was just
okay.
injured by
He's
a high
from New
falling
Jersey.
chisel. He's from New
Yeah.
Jersey.
Yeah. He just
And
now-
hey, Springsteen, but a very terrible injury. So stupid. I apologize. And the point that I'm going to get back to, which began as a compliment and then turned into probably just a horrible sketch. It's almost impossible to do it. And then you guys come up with hacks, and I see people struggling to create comedy and then perform comedy. And I think that's the closest I've seen to how it really is.
Thank you.
And of course, that comes from you guys being very talented, but also being still quite young and coming from this world.
Yeah. Yeah.
You started out, I mean, as a kid, you were making content all the time, even if it was just for yourself. Right?
It was just for myself. Yeah. There was no social media. There was no YouTube. Thank goodness, I think.
You're 77 years old.
That's right. That's right.
That's what it says here.
There wasn't even cellular, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, I had the stick and hoop, and I was entertaining myself with the stick and hoop.
Sometimes you'd play with the butter churn.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But you were making content, and this I can relate to because I don't think I needed an audience. If I was in my room,
right,
I was doing this shit, and you seem like a similar fellow to me.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
What an honor for you to say that. But yeah, I would entertain myself in the mirror. I wish my son did that because now I have a toddler who needs a lot of attention, and I was like, I entertain myself for hours,
Yeah, all
doing
you
voices,
need
doing
is a mirror and delusion.
Exactly. I still have both
in equal measure.
Yeah. Which is good.
So let's talk about your creation story.
Mm-hmm.
You're coming along, and it was interesting to me because the minute I saw you and your work, I thought, well, they're all improvisers. And then I find out that you started doing stand-up initially or dabbled in stand-up a little bit.
Yes.
And it's interesting because I always knew, I mean, I did early on, I did some emceeing, but I knew I needed a gang. I needed either my gang of writers or I needed my improv gang. I needed some kind of a squad. And that I understood early on. When did you figure out that was kind of what you were looking for?
I did sketch in high school. I did sketch and improv in college. And then when I moved to New York, I was like, I want to be an actor. I'm going to just audition for things and I'll do stand up. I'll try my hand at that because I idolized stand-ups and always loved watching stand-up. I watched Premium Blend on Comedy Central growing up, where there was a lot of female stand-ups who I admire a lot. And so I tried it and I found it really lonely. I found it really hard.
Yes.
I was also doing a lot of characters. And at the time, I think there are like phases that stand-up goes through. And at the time, I would say, hey, I have a couple sound cues. Do you guys have tech? And they were like, what? They were like, tech. I was like, yeah, do you mind if I bring out a wig and a rattle? And they were like, all right, I don't think you belong here. And it didn't really work.
Seinfeld requested none of this.
No. And now it's so funny because now I see stand-up and a lot of people have PowerPoints and they have tons of tech and a lot of sound, So it's different now. But when I was doing it, I for a minute, and I mean a minute, I was probably 4 or 5 months after graduating that I didn't do improv and I did stand up, found it very hard. And then I went to the Upright Citizens Brigade and did improv and sketch because I missed it.
You get to UCB and there you start to meet your people.
Yeah.
And not just Lucia, Jen.
Lucia.
I'm changing
it's
it
like cappuccino. That's how you...
Lucia.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm Conando for this interview.
Did you just get hit with a chisel?
Conando,
yes.
Conando from New Jersey. From
Your
Conando,
accents
she's
are,
Lucia.
are a problem.
Excuse me, I don't think they are. I think they show a great caring.
It's empathy. These accents
thank you so much.
Yes.
And that's now recorded. And I can use that at the trial. Abby Jacobson.
Yes.
Liana Glazer.
Yep.
You start working with these hilarious people. And this is where you start to find, we're all like-minded.
Yes.
We're in a groove here.
Yes.
That's such a magical moment, isn't it?
It saved me, I think. Especially moving to New York, and I don't know, you move to New York, you have survival jobs, it's really hard. Living there is hard. And finding people that were like-minded, had a similar sense of humor, was huge for all of us, I feel like, and it really, we found our people and started to make things, and the rest is kind of history.
It is the same thing, not just in comedy, but I think for musicians, sculptors, it's across the board.
Yeah.
Because I so remember kind of finding some of my group in college and then getting out to LA and doing improv at the Groundlings and starting to find my people. And you start to think, hey, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
That was the first feeling I had there were all those years where I just thought, well, something's wrong with me. And yes, there probably is, but then you find other people with the same
Issues.
whatever it is, issues, malady,
Yeah.
and you're all having fun, and you're meeting at a diner afterwards to talk down the show,
Yeah.
and it's few things will replace that joy.
Yes. I mean, I think about that a lot. That I mean, we still do it. I'm so lucky to still do it with my best friend and my wife. But us doing shows and going exactly to a diner and talking about the show, or talking about something we'd watched, or talking about a sketch we'd seen, and it's weird. It is like a special language that people share, I think, when they have a similar sense of humor. And that's not just comedians. Of course, it's a deeper level in a way for people that try and do it professionally. But, I feel like anybody that you have a similar sense of humor with and who can make you laugh, it's just such a unique and special thing.
Now, here's the interesting thing to me, or an area that's interesting, is that you have this world of making comedy, jokes, bits, sketches, inside references with your friends, and you're making content at UCB, you're putting stuff up, you're having fun, and then at some point, if you're very fortunate and also good at what you do, it turns into a business.
Mm-hmm.
And pressure is applied and expectations are applied, and there are budgets, and there's a lot of people around looking at you and saying, hey, what's going on today? And I've always found it interesting that one of the challenges is to make sure you still keep the joy in it.
Yeah.
When that is applied. And when I think about Hacks, this is a big show.
Yeah.
I drive around LA and there are giant buildings that are just dedicated. They've been painted over. The windows, people can't see out their windows anymore because Gene Smart's face has been painted over them.
It's blocking the view, yeah.
And it's a children's hospital. These poor sick kids.
They need light surgery.
I
know.
They're operating in the dark.
There's no vitamin
because
D.
a giant kind of einbinder and I mean, it's terrible what's happening to children. Sorry again. It's a big show. Yeah. It's a big deal. And it's a smash hit. And so you've got to be adults.
Yeah.
And you've got to meet expectations.
Mm-hmm. And
you've got a big fan base.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to keep that silly joy going.
Yeah.
Do you talk about that for a little bit?
Well, that is so funny. It's true. I mean, our first job was on Broad City. Mm-hmm. And at Comedy Central, it was a low budget show. We didn't know if it would break through. We didn't know if people would watch. And it was almost kids in a candy store. It was just us figuring out how to make TV because we had never done it.
And you're doing it. My favorite kind of comedy is when I can tell people are doing this for themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And I think one of the things I loved about Broad City, and it's the same thing I would have said about classic SCTV or so many shows that I loved, is that I had the impression that they were doing this for themselves to make themselves laugh, and then I just happened to be stumbling upon it.
Yes.
And that was some of the beauty of it.
Yeah, totally. And that we kind of showcase that in a way in episode 4 of this season when Deborah just looks at one person and looks at Ava, because I remember doing solo shows at UCB, several, which is embarrassing to say. I did several solo shows. And sometimes no one would be laughing except Lucia.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, it's
I
good.
must marry
it's
this
good.
one.
Yeah. Well,
and then
God.
I will call her Lucia. Her true name, Lucia. You're not fooling anyone. I've been to the DMV. I know how you spell your name.
But yeah, we try. I mean, and that's I think the secret of this show's success is also that we continue to try and make each other laugh. I mean, that's what we do. When the three of us are writing together, oftentimes we all write the same scene.
Yeah.
Separately, and then switch and just highlight things we like. And then we combine them. So it's almost like a third draft.
Yep.
And all I'm trying to do is make these two women laugh. So it is for each other as much as it is for everybody. And that was very true on Broad City. And it's still true on Hacks. And Lucia, always talks about following the fun. You have to follow the fun.
Yes.
And we try and do that on set. And it's so hard when there's time and budgets and actors and crew and 300 people making something to balance all of that and still have the freedom to figure something out or to follow the fun of something is a real challenge. But we are there for each other to remind each other to do it.
Yeah.
Which is not easy, but...
No, I wouldn't think it'd be easy, but I think you're also, you have such a funny cast, of which you are a part, which is interesting. You wear so many hats on this show, but Megan Stalter is so funny. And
so funny.
You get me started on Jean Smart, who's just, I don't know, kind of a, she is funny in so many different ways.
Yes.
And when I watch her perform, I think she's not hitting one note. She's not hitting 5 notes. She can hit every note in the register.
Yep.
And I'm so in awe of her and happy for her that you guys created this, because she needed a role. She's always been funny.
Yeah.
But this role shows you that she's funny and she can break your heart.
Yeah, I know. She is so good. I think you're right. Like, we often talk about the music of jokes and the sound and the rhythm. And, you know, sometimes you have to adjust an actor and help them make the sound you want. She always knocks it out of the park and then gives us more. And we're like, oh my God, she hit a note we didn't even know. And it's so true that she also is so gifted as an actress that she plays those emotional beats in a way that we cry at monitor a lot, which is crazy, you know, still, because she can break your heart. And she has been the funniest thing in so many things. I remember her on Frasier, being so funny, or in the Brady Bunch movie. I was like, the horny neighbor is the funniest part.
That's
right.
That's
Yeah. I love the horny neighbor, and it's so cool to have her show her range in the show.
Women have been just such a big part of your comedy experience. I mean, you look at not just Lucia, not just Jen. I'm going to say it. Lucia!
Oh my God.
I actually
It's
think you might
very
be
hard.
talking about a different person at this point.
Who's I'm sure wonderful as well.
I'm sure.
I'm talking about Lucia Al Dente. Terrific comedy writer who lives on the island of Sardinia.
Oh my God.
I'm never going to say her name again.
It's funny because you
I'll
asked
say
for
Lucia.
clarity. The first thing you
I
did.
know, but can I say something? Maybe there is something wrong with me. Or maybe she and I have beef, and this is my way of getting at her.
It's
You
so
know?
subtle.
passive-aggressive.
It's a subtle.
It's so passive aggressive.
Yeah.
She cut me off on the 405 8 years ago.
And her license plate is Lucia, so he knew. She can go by one
and
name.
I rolled down my window. I went, Lucia from now on. And she
me.
said, what?
You'll see.
I said, you'll see. Give this riff time to grow. Okay. Jen, Lucia, you've got Megan, you've got, first of all, 2 powerhouse female leads. And it feels to me like this has always been your comfort zone, is being around all these funny women.
Yeah.
Broad City.
Yeah.
And I was reading some article about you, and it said that you had a revelation when you saw Young Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Tell me what that was.
Well, so my dad is a comedy fan, and I remember watching Young Frankenstein as a kid and loving it. And of course, I loved Gene Wilder in it and wanted to be Gene Wilder. But I was really my first, like, my foray into doing comedy was to do Cloris Leachman's lines. Ovaltine, you know, and just to like stay close to the candles. The stairs can be treacherous. Like, she was so funny in that movie.
Yes.
And Terry Garr is so funny in the movie, and Madeline Kahn is so funny in that movie. And so I always was like, well, I think the girls are funnier than the guys.
And I'll say this. Who in the world is funnier than Gene Wilder? Gene Wilder, that is that is my favorite performance of his, and it's so beautifully honed. And we're talking about the women in the movie.
I know.
And I mean, he's one of the greats of all time, and he's giving the performance of a lifetime.
Yeah.
And not to take anything away from him, but I can understand that. That's a great movie for anyone to see.
Yeah.
And learn very quickly that women are the funniest people in the room.
Yeah. 100%. And it's true. I mean, Gene Wilder in that movie is so good because it's so grounded and yet so screwball and so crazy. He's just incredible in it. But I felt that way also. I was a Nick at Night kid, so I watched a lot of Nick at Night, and watching I Love Lucy or Mary Tyler Moore. It was always oftentimes a female story that I liked. I also, I was never a jock. I was never, you know what I mean? I know. Can you believe it?
I was a jock, and then about a year ago.
What?
Yeah.
We'll talk about
You
it
stopped.
later.
You hung up the bat. You retired the bat, yeah.
Most people assume I'm a real jock.
Yeah.
You were saying, I'm sorry, I interrupted
No.
you with my stupid.
No.
But you were saying that you
No.
were noticing early on in Nick at Night, you're watching all these women, and a name you didn't mention. It was a thrilling moment for me. There's a moment where this season where Jean Smart goes to cardiologist just to get a checkup, and in the waiting room she sees Carol Burnett.
Yeah.
And we had Carol Burnett on the podcast about a year ago, and I've met Carol a bunch of times, and I will never be jaded. I'm always walking on air afterwards.
Yeah.
And she is still so sharp and so funny, and she was great in that scene, playing herself.
Unbelievable. Unbelievably funny, unbelievably sharp. Had things to add. Was like, I can do a Carol Channing impression. There was so much that she did.
I can juggle.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was really amazing. And we shot that at Television City, steps away from her stage where she shot the Carol Burnett show, which we had, asked permission to feature last season when we shot there, just to show it, because she's such an inspiration for us. And we needed somebody in this season that Deborah Vance could get sage wisdom from and look up to. And like, who better than Carol Burnett? And the fact that she responded to the show and wanted to do it. I mean, it was a goosebump moment for all of us. It was really crazy.
The show delves into late night this year, which was fascinating for me because there are things that you cite in the show that I've lived through. And so I'll get a little bit of PTSD from watching it, but it's also really funny and apt, like getting notes, or this is what we heard about, in the early days of my late night show, research and what are people saying and what do we need to try and adjust. And it was all stuff that just felt impossible.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of reliving it a little bit through your show, but you guys are doing a very good job of hitting a bunch of the nerves, which means you're getting it right.
That's good. That's good. I mean, obviously, like we talk about you and your shows a lot, and we did a lot this season making it, and we tried to get it right, And, and just writing the show about making the show was so stressful and so hard. I'm like, I didn't do 5 shows a week and have to do monologue jokes.
Right.
And yet I viscerally, I felt the pressure of that. It's crazy.
There's a great moment where Deborah Vance is trying out, she's meeting the new writers for the first time, and they're going around the room. And there's people are throwing out funny ideas, and then there's one writer who's new, who just is like, yeah, and then he says something that's not that funny. And
then she farts.
Yeah, and then she farts, because she farts. Which, by the way,
which is funny.
It's very funny.
It's funny.
And
sorry.
I would say head writer.
Yeah.
Right away.
He's promoted.
Yeah.
The fart guy's promoted.
Yeah. Get fart guy back. But anyway, he does it twice, and you see Jean Smart notice it, and then Jean Smart writes on a piece of paper and slides it over to Hannah, and it says "Riff Killer," which is such a great, because it's a little inside baseball, but we call it riffing, which is people are in a room, they're coming up with good ideas, riffing, and then she just slides across riff killer, because we've all been in a room where things are cooking, and then one person in the room is like, yeah, and then maybe it's George W. Bush. And everyone has to reset. No one wants to be a dick.
Yeah, exactly.
And we all go,
Eduardo's pointing at Blay.
oh, Blay.
It's me.
Okay, but
You don't need to pretend. I'm right here. You don't need to just
Well,
talk
that's
about
part
like
of- that's
some
part of
people
the-
some people are riff
he
killers.
thought it was a compliment, so he got it tattooed. He got He got riff killer
On your lower
tattooed
back?
on his low back.
That's nice. That's
Yeah,
nice.
riff killer. But anyway, I love that moment. And then I have to bring this up, which is because I just watched it last night. There's a scene where this killed me. It's a very funny joke and nonsensical, but Jean Smart, Deborah has stolen is trying to steal a guest away who would have been on Kimmel, and Kimmel's confronting her and saying, look, I get this guest, you don't get this guest. She's trying to get Kristen Bell on her show, and Jimmy Kimmel confronts her and says, you don't get Kristen Bell because she always does my show. She's been doing, I got sort of possession of having her as a guest after Conan died. And you know what I loved about it is that it said, with no one questions it, it's just like, since Conan died, I get her after Conan died. And it's just like, that's understood. And I'm laughing because no one questions it.
But in that universe, you're dead and you can never be on that show except in flashbacks.
Oh, no, don't say that.
No.
We definitely want you on the show. We do.
I think we've settled that score.
No.
No, I'm kidding. But it was so funny to me. It's such a funny, I always like jokes that upon examination, they make me laugh on a guttural level, but they also don't make sense.
It makes no sense.
And he says it the way we all know that Charles Lindbergh is dead. It was so funny. It was such a great moment.
Yeah.
I have
funny
to give
joke.
him credit because, that was a Jimmy Kimmel improv line.
Listen.
wow.
So I did not write that line.
That's great.
Let me write that down.
Okay.
He will be repaid
Okay.
in kind. I can't wait to mispronounce his name. Jamais.
Jamais Kamal. Jamais.
Lucia, have you met Jamais?
So you're very much alive in our universe.
Oh well, thank you.
And I do mean it. I want to say it here. We would love to have you on the show.
Oh, I would.
Ooh.
we would
either.
absolutely love it. Okay.
Then we can come up with a way that I was resuscitated.
Okay.
It's a joy to watch, and I think one of the things that's interesting to me is it's all about, like, a magician makes you believe in the illusion. And so I know it's a TV show, but you guys have me emotionally invested in what happens to Deborah Vance, and does this late night show work? And I hope this late night show works out. And currently things seem a little wobbly, but I'm emotionally invested in it, which means you're very good illusionists.
Well, thank you.
You've created this world that I'm completely invested in.
Thank you. I mean, a lot of that credit goes to Gene and Hannah as well for making these characters so real. I feel that way too. I mean, I know we write the show, but they feel so real to all of us. And I think they do now to them as well. There's some scenes this season when I think both Gene and Hannah do some of their best work in the show, and we're like, God, that was good after. And they're like, I just said it because I feel, now it's like so in their bones. They feel these characters are so real.
I think
even to
something
them.
Hannah does really well, just as an observer, is that she clearly wants a maternal figure. She wants a connection with this incredibly tough, Jean Smart character. She wants this so badly, but she also knows she has to be tough. And there's this great moment where, without giving anything away, but she gets a hug from Jean, and you see Hannah kind of melt a little bit because she's getting that connection that she really wants from not just her comedy hero, but also someone who she has a real connection with and cares about. And you see her soften a little bit, and then Jean Smart reveals that she's doing it just because there's a camera on them.
Yeah.
And that's why she's doing it. And she needs to make it look good for the camera. And you see the heartbreak. I mean, Hannah is killing it.
She's incredible.
Yeah.
She is incredible. And she does, like you're saying, so much, sometimes with no dialogue. She's so funny and she's such a good stand-up herself. But yeah, she's so incredibly good. And it's hard, I think, to be that good. I mean, obviously your scene partner does a lot of the lifting and helps you out. But to do what she does with Jean is really incredible.
I don't know. I don't work with people that lift me up.
Oh.
Well, yeah, it's hard when you have to lift everyone up. I know it's hard.
Can I just say for a second, I feel like I'm an Olympic swimmer,
green.
and I have 2 cinder blocks around my neck.
Oof.
Oh.
Okay, you are a jock.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you can do that.
We make you stronger.
You do? Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We test you and
Yeah.
make you stronger. You're welcome.
That's what you
true.
want.
Thank
You want
you.
that,
And
yeah.
we're actively
Yeah.
trying to drown it.
It's called drag. It's called drag when you have cinder blocks as a
kill
swimmer.
you
I
more
was a swimmer,
specifically.
even though I wasn't a jock.
Oh, okay.
You need the drag every now and again.
You need a drag.
I do it, and I do need it. Your character, Jimmy, your relationship with Kayla, Megan Stalter, is, I will say this, I don't think I've seen that relationship on TV before. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Love that relationship.
It's a relationship.
That dynamic.
It's a dynamic that I've
best.
and I'm flipping through my comedy nerd mind trying to find the same thing, and I'm like, nope, I don't think it's there. I think that's a new thing you've cracked.
Thank you. I mean,
she's over the top insane.
So insane. So insane.
And you are trying much more. I love that.
Yeah.
You and I have some experience with an insane assistant.
Oh my God.
But you know what I'm saying, Sona?
No, I don't know what you're saying. I'm nothing like her. I do, but I love how different. What the fuck are you looking at me like that?
I'm just looking. I'm just laughing. I'm
We
listening.
have hours of footage of you acting insane.
Oh, there's not enough footage of you being insane?
I'm the star. I'm expected to be insane.
At least Paul's character is like a normal person.
He's a normal boss.
Yeah.
I love how
insane.
patient you are. I love how patient you are. Your character is Jimmy is with Kayla. It's and that's some of the comedy is to an absurd degree, and it reminds me a little bit of one of the things that makes Groucho so funny is Margaret Dumont, because Margaret Dumont, he's acting insane. And she's next to him going like, Groucho. And then, well, anyway, let's move forward. When anyone else would say, I'm getting the fuck away from this person. But what makes it work is you can't, the whole dynamic of yes and is you are sticking with Kayla, with Megan Stalter. You're going to stick with her, and she's going to have awful ideas with great confidence.
Yes. Yeah. She's somebody who, Megan is so funny and so good. And everything she does. But when we this is one character we kind of ripped from real life. This is based on a couple of assistants that people that we've worked with have had and that we've experienced.
Right.
Sometimes who are nepo and have entitlement, but also a little bit of insecurity. Like having this extreme confidence and yet nerves is a really funny dynamic. And that is a duality that Meg plays in some of her original characters. So we were like, she would be great for this. And we thought it was really funny to have somebody who is, in the beginning at least, both his assistant and his boss, kind of, because her dad owns the management firm that they work
with. And now your initial problem is, how do I get rid of this assistant? And now you're partners in this season. I love that you just keep turning up the dial on. And what's also great is occasionally she has a good idea.
Yeah, that's the thing. I do think that's true in the entertainment business and in management. You have to sometimes think outside the box and be insane. And Jimmy is not insane. He's very by the book. He's very earnest, and sometimes those crazy ideas actually work. So weirdly, she is a better manager than she is assistant. She's terrible at being an assistant, but she has some out-of-the-box ideas that, especially this season, that really do work.
I want to ask you a little bit about the dynamic of your comedy partner is also your romantic partner, and that's something that fascinates me. My wife is super smart, really funny. We've never collaborated on anything. And I've always thought, that's like a Bermuda Triangle that I have not gone into. And maybe we will someday, but how does that dynamic work? Or did you always knew it was going to work?
Well, we were on an improv team together, and we started doing sketch videos before we were ever dating. And it was in making those things, because she's so smart and funny, that attracted us to each other. And we started dating kind of after we were already working together a bit. But she's the best audience. She's the person that I want to make, that it feels the best to make her laugh. She has such a good laugh, and I love making her laugh. So, and it's been a real cheat for us to work together, not just because we have each other as an audience and as cheerleaders, but also, in this business, you don't see your spouse if you're working as hard as we're working. So thank God we're on set together.
That's really nice.
We get to be together. I think it's different for different people, but I mean, your wife being smart and funny, what it's like to make that person laugh. And
yes,
you know what I mean? Like it's
if I can make my wife really hard, and also if she can really laugh and she makes me really laugh, that's the glue.
Yeah,
that's the long-term glue.
That's right.
Have you ever wondered if Lucia said yes accepted your proposal just because she was yes-anding you?
Oh my God.
Because of improv training.
Honestly, I had until now.
That's a fair question.
I had until now, but you know what? She is a very good improviser.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was she going to do? You put out a scene.
No.
Yeah.
You laid it out there.
Yeah.
Will you? And she has to say yes, and we'll have a child.
She's trained to not say no.
I'm saying
right.
that's the best. That's what
I married an improviser too, and this is making me really look back. Usual Suspects.
And guess what? It was during a sketch, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
And then you afterwards were crying and said, "You said yes. You have to."
Oh no.
Oh God. Well, you know,
You guys had your only child. Is only child?
yeah, only.
Your only child during the making of Hacks.
Yeah. Well,
Like-
you know, funnily enough, we were not planning to get married. We were like, oh, we'll just won't get married, and you know, we don't need to do that. And then there was a point in time when I was like, well, I want to get her a ring, and I'll float it. I'll float it. Thinking that she'd be like, we've talked
I'll
about
pitch
this.
it.
We've
I'll
talked
pitch
about
it.
this. We're not going to get married.
Yeah.
And she said yes, and because we had been together at that point for 15 years,
Yeah.
so we had been together for a really long time, but we weren't going to have children.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did end up getting married. We thought it'd be a nice way to celebrate our time
I'm
together.
telling you,
with
it's
our
all
friends.
improv. Yes, and
Yes, no kidding. Oh, the sperm and the egg
And
were like,
then- That's right. They were doing their own scene.
An improv class with sperm and egg.
They were, yeah. It was their own scene, and they
they crushed
worked.
it. They
It
killed
worked.
it.
They crushed
I
it.
love that idea. And scene. Sperm. You work at a gym. Egg. This is your first time at the gym. And go. You're pregnant.
Actually, no, it's crazy. We didn't find out. We had been traveling, and she had missed one of her periods, and basically we found out when she was 2.5 months pregnant. So the next
Whoa.
day, we saw a heartbeat, and that was 2 weeks before our wedding.
oh
Oh,
my
wow.
God.
So we got married, came home, started season. That was season 2. We were shooting season 2,
Mhm.
and then he came early. Again, this is like
Right.
sperm and egg doing their own thing.
Yeah.
He came early on his own time, and it was while we were shooting, and so she did direct between contractions because she was directing that day.
Oh my
Oh,
I know, which is mentally unwell. I mean, it's badass and
It's
so
pretty
cool.
badass, yeah.
But it's also
She's earned the right to be called Lucia.
yeah. Oh, good.
Wow,
Okay.
that's what it
now
takes.
she's been.
You know,
she's earned
now
it.
I'm sorry, Lucia. You're gone now. It's
Rest in
Lucia
peace.
now. Rest in peace. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
So it was a crazy year. It was a really, really crazy year.
What's cool too is that as you go on through your career, you have this document, the actual show,
Yeah.
where, I mean, in a weird way, I don't think about this much, but I have it too because I met my wife on a remote shoot. We went to an
Wow.
advertising agency, and people look it up online all the time.
Oh, wow.
And I'm there just doing the Conan thing where I'm on a remote, being an ass. And then I just start talking to this one woman in the room, and just within seconds, I'm not even trying to be funny. We're just talking about,
Wow.
yeah, no, my dad, right. And so, okay.
Wow.
And you like cats? That's funny. No, I've even adopted. I had a cat when I was a kid, and my producer was listening on headphones outside the office where we were doing all this remote. He's like, "What the fuck is he doing?" So we have us meeting.
Wow,
then,
that's really cool.
Then we have the episode where I'm just back from the hospital because my daughter was born.
That's really
And I'm
cool.
talking about it on the air. Then we have the episode where I'm just back from the hospital because my son was born. And I think, I haven't really thought about it that much till this moment now, but those are weird documents.
Yeah.
I remembered bringing my son when he was little, and I brought my daughter to work right after she was born. Not right after, but you know, and
We wiped her down
The
and-
doctor said, yeah, she was still umbilical cord was
Yeah.
stretched over 9th Avenue. Cabs were
Oh
hitting
my
it.
God.
It plays a low E note. But anyway, she's. I brought my daughter in when she was old enough to come into and was sitting at the. I saw Tina Fey recently, and we reminisced about this because I said, Tina, I will never forget. Tina was up in 8H
Mhm.
rehearsing Saturday Night Live, and I'm down on 6 on the late night set, and I'm sitting and I'm holding my daughter, and one of the cameramen zoomed in on my daughter. Suddenly, double doors fly open, and Tina comes running in, and she was like, "Give me that baby." This is before she had her own daughter, but she was like, you could see that she had baby fever, and she was like, "Give me that! Oh my God!" And I almost didn't get Nev back. And then it wasn't long afterwards that she had her own daughter. But it was, I have all these memories that are, my show work is intertwined
Yep.
with, you know, my meeting my wife, falling in love, getting married, children. It's all becomes a piece.
Yes.
And that's going to be part of, you know, all the work that you do going forward, even after Hacks, it'll all be entwined.
Yeah, I know. We think about that a lot. We actually, we talk about the show like our first child in a way, because it is like raising a child in a way. And then he came and now has a sibling, and he visits set sometimes. And that's like, and there's so much now we have a lot of,
and they fight.
And they do fight. Yeah. Well, he just really wants to go to Crafty. That's all he cares about.
Yeah.
Really. But now we have a lot of like footage of, because Gene is similar to Tina. Gene really wants Luca whenever he's on set, and they have a great relationship, and she threw my wife's baby shower. And so we have all these photos and videos of him on set with Gene and, sitting at Deborah Vance's desk as like an infant. And it is really cool that we'll have that.
That's great.
Forever. Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because after a while, I always think back to the I Love Lucy show where Lucy goes to the club to tell Ricky that she's pregnant. And it's just fascinating to me because that was a show business relationship in real life, but also they were doing a show about that.
Yeah.
And then you saw all the ways in which it was intertwined.
Yeah. And we go by Polly Lou, that's our moniker, which is a nod to Desi Lou. We don't have a show about our life, but we have a show that is our life. So
you play the bongos.
That's right. I wish. Jimmy could pick up the bongos. That would actually be good. He starts smoking a lot of weed and does the bongos because Kayla just drives him off the deep end. That might be actually we need something new. We need something new for Jimmy. Gear.
I can help you with that. I'll be on set to pitch. I also want to give a personal shout out to an old fellow performer. One of the first things I ever did on stage was a show called Happy, Happy, Good Show. I did it with Robert Smigel and Bob Odenkirk in Chicago in 1988 during a writer's strike at it. And so we were at SNL and we went to Chicago and put up this very weird sketch show. And I met Rose Abdoo.
Oh my gosh.
And Rose Abdoo was hilarious and great. And I'm just so delighted that she's on the show.
She is so funny.
She's always note perfect.
She is perfect. And I tell you what, we've now, whether it's at South by or at screenings at the Pally Fest, we've shown now a bunch of episodes to a live audience. She kills.
Yeah.
She always knocks it out of the park. It's crazy.
Yeah.
She comes on for one pop and always knocks it out of the park.
She's a trooper. Great. She's like a vaudevillian trooper.
Yep.
And but I've looked at, not long ago, I found a program from Happy, Happy, Good Show. I think I'm 25. Wow. I'm 6'4". I think I'm 155 pounds.
Wow.
And there's a sketch where I'm supposed to be. Exactly.
Damn.
Jock or weather vane. You be the Detroit. You be the
pole vaulter.
Yeah. No, the pole. The actual pole. Yeah. And I think it's a sketch it's a sketch where all of us are supposed to be naked, but I'm holding a guitar and you can see my body, and it's a freak show. Not that it isn't now, but oh my God. But Rose is in the picture and all of us are just really hopeful, like we'll get there somehow.
Aww.
It's
really
sweet.
Cool.
It's a really sweet memory for me.
Yeah, she's been doing it for a long time and she is so good. I'm really glad that she's a part of the family. And she named the character. It was a different name. And she said, I'm going to base this on my aunt and my mom. And we said, okay, do you want to choose the name? And she said, Josefina. It was like great. She was like, I have it ready. Yeah.
Then she renamed your wife.
Yeah, exactly.
And you are Lucia. No, it's Lucia.
Luciana.
Luciana. Am I the only one who've noticed that you have the most amazing eyes?
Oh, come on.
And I've seen it on TV, but in person, I think I've fallen in love with Paul throughout this interview.
Gosh, that's so
very
kind.
deeply in love with you.
Well,
because I'm
right
just
back at you.
No, I have creepy killer eyes.
No.
Look, Beady looking around.
Oh my gosh.
Look at that.
Don't do that.
Right?
If you do that, yeah. But you do have really nice
in a
eyes.
beautiful
haunted
eyes.
mansion where the eyes move.
But well, I think one of us has to call your wife. I am. very happy for you.
Thank you.
Massive congratulations. If you ever want me to play a parking lot attendant on your show.
We need you on the show.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Well, whatever you guys want me to do.
Parking lot. You exist in that universe.
No, I'm dead now.
No, you're not.
No, you've been demoted to parking lot attendant.
If you don't have a late night show, you're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that was his.
It's all good. I'll do whatever you guys want me to do. It doesn't matter. And I have no ego about it. I'll do craft services on this show.
Oh my God.
But I'm
My son would love you.
Yeah, seriously.
Just give him some pirate's booty.
All chocolate, pirate booty. But anything to help get an oar in the water, like this show needs any help. I think you've won. It's insane. I can't even get into how many Emmys you've won, Peabody, but all well-deserved. And
thank you.
Makes me happy, always does, when these youngsters out there, and you are youngsters, are doing really good, fantastic work and killing it. Makes me, by association, proud.
Well,
so thank you.
I'm glad you feel that way because we admire you and your work so much. And Jen, my co-creator, interned for you and has amazing stories about that. covered your assistant's desk and was very nervous and said that you were not only funny but kind. And
what?
Yeah.
Cuts on his mic.
Depends on who. She's a very good assistant, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she knows how to play it.
And
he was very kind. Suddenly, Bugatti shows up outside her door with a bow on it. Thanks for playing along, Conan. Anyway, Hacks, it is season 4 now. Is it season 4?
We're in season 4, yeah.
Yeah, you're in season 4. And I'm 5 shows through and loving it. And keep doing what you're doing. Please.
Thank you.
Please. I know you were thinking of stopping.
Yeah.
But
I almost retired last year.
I'm encouraging you to continue.
And then I said, I'll keep going.
No, it was this podcast.
Yeah, actually.
You walked in, you're all like, I think we're going to stop now.
Oh
Too
my
much success.
God. Well, now I can retire. You know? I mean, I always wanted to be on your show.
Oh.
And, it was a dream. And so this is a dream. But, I saw you once and I said to my wife, I'm going to go up and introduce myself and just tell them that I'm a fan. Everyone likes to hear that they have fans. And she was like, so you can edit this out if you want. If you want to keep privacy and anonymity.
All right.
But it was at the Hotel du Cap.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm at the Hotel du Cap. And
I was there on a junket. I got sent there.
But they love you there. You're on the wall.
Oh, really?
They have a signature of yours on the wall in the bar.
The Hotel du Cap is not a hotel that I would book myself.
Okay.
I was sent there because I'm not the kind of person. Look, I like a nice hotel. I like a nice hotel.
In France,
where is this hotel?
It's in Eden Rock on the France.
Like near Cannes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Near
I was
Cannes.
wondering.
And I got sent there. They said, do you want to go and do this panel there and we'll fly you and your wife? And this is a legendary hotel.
It's insane.
And I get there and they're throwing some big shindig and I do my thing. And I'll never forget seeing
Me?
Bon Jovi.
Oh, Bon Jovi.
We'll get to you. Okay. Seeing Bon Jovi and Bon Jovi, and I was like, oh, hey, man, what are you doing here? And he went, they flew me in just to sing, like a cow on a steel horse I ride. Well, and it did. And I said, you're guys singing one song? He's like, that's it.
Wow.
And they're covering everything. And I thought, show business, I haven't experienced this a lot. This is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so did we encounter each other?
So no, because we weren't even staying in the main hotel. They have like a little annex that's less money. And because I wasn't flown, I paid for it. And, but we were on a budget. So at dinner, I said to Lucia, I'm going to take all of the baguette in the basket. And I put baguettes in my pocket.
I love this.
And so we get back to the hotel. We had some French wine. And I said, oh my God, there's Conan. I have to go say hello. And she said, babe, you have baguettes in your pocket. Your pockets are stuffed with baguettes. You're gonna look like Jean Valjean. You look like you've stolen food. Just wait till maybe you meet him properly one day.
No,
I know.
I want to say
no. He's got baguettes in his pocket still.
I know. Well, honestly, I would. I love bread.
Me too.
First of all, she was wrong.
Okay, she's Lucia again.
Yeah. Back to demoted to Lucia. Lucia. No, are you kidding? I would have loved that.
I should have done it.
I would have loved that. And
it.
as I think you will attest, you would have said, oh, I don't want to bother Conan O'Brien. You would have come up to me. We would have started chatting. I would have asked you some questions, and then within 10 minutes, you'd be saying, I think I have to go. That is the usual experience.
I should have done it then. That would have been
And I would have been like, oh, now I've got bread in my pockets, too. Let's do a bit. Hey, let's meet tomorrow, and I'll have bread in my pockets. Be like, I don't think so, Conan. This is it's getting a neediness here.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
Needy.
Needy.
That was very good. That was very good.
Very neat, very good. Paul, thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you for
Congrats
having
on
me.
everything, and I'm real happy for you.
Thanks so much.
Every now and then we stumble upon a revelation that really rocks our world. And just the other day, we found out that Sona, you were a Girl Scout.
Yes, I was.
I just don't see it.
What do you mean?
Do you? It's kind of shocking.
Yeah, it is a little shocking.
You're a rule breaker.
Yeah.
You're a rebel. You're the Pinky Tuscadero.
I still remember my pledge. I live by my pledge. And I think that
What's the pledge?
On my honor, I will try to serve God. I've already lost it.
Oh my God.
And
So
my
far, you're batting
country
1,000.
to help people at all times and to live by the Girl Scout law.
Okay.
And yeah, I do that. I always do that. So you're welcome.
Do you think that you upheld the Girl Scout code when you were my full-time assistant?
I helped people at all times.
But what about me?
I help people at all times, and I
Okay.
lived by the Girl Scout law.
Okay.
So, I
You
did
do-
my best with you.
You do very well in a Senate
I
confirmation.
know, it
hearing.
does sound like that. It does.
The Senate votes unanimously that you are the new Secretary of the Interior.
I do not recall.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to say. Did I
So-
always help you? I do not recall.
how did you get into the Girl Scouts? Whose idea was it? Was this something that your parents came up with, or is it something you wanted to do?
I think my parents, I think they wanted to get us into American stuff. And so they signed me up as a Girl Scout when I
Right.
was
That
really
makes
young.
sense.
I was a daisy. And then I became a brownie. I was a brownie, then I became a junior. And so
I don't know what the ranks are.
it starts off at Daisy.
I thought Brownie was the beginning. Daisy was
Daisy's the baby, brownie, and then junior, and then it goes up, but I stopped after junior.
and then it's Reichsfuhrer, the very top.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's when you
Then
get a
I
long
stopped.
letter coat and a riding crop.
It was fun, though.
to
I had a
drive
lot
around
of fun.
in a Mercedes.
Okay.
Well, we're joined by someone else on staff who we also.
Can I share a photo and then it'll?
Yes,
Oh.
okay, that's very good.
Well,
And
we have-
Eduardo has a. Oh,
Oh, my God.
oh my God! Look at that, Sona.
So serious.
I don't know why I'm holding the flowers like that.
Sona, you look kind of like nonplussed about it all.
It does look like you're curling the flowers.
It does.
Like a
Oh, I
weight.
just.
I know.
This is incredible. Look at you.
Yeah.
And
It's like you're a flower bearer at a funeral or something.
but also look at what do those markings indicate? Are those different awards that you won?
Yeah, those are my badges.
Okay,
that's
but what
what
were
that's what it's all for.
Yeah, but what were the badges? Do you remember what your badges were for?
I have no idea. I think it was like, it was the 80s
for
and
flower
90s.
holding.
No, it wasn't for flower
It
holding.
was like, oh, I made applesauce. Oh, look at me. I made a pie. Oh, look, I learned how to sew.
Yeah.
It's like that, and camping and stuff. Yeah.
I bet Sona was really good at selling cookies, though. I feel
Oh
like you
my
lived
God.
for
You
that.
just tapped into a thing. We would go in front of the Albertsons, and it was me and this troop leader's daughter, and we would battle it out to see who would sell more. And sometimes we were so aggressive, we scared away customers.
Oh my God.
And you were just, and here's the thing, you were a little girl who scared away adults, and you were holding cookies.
Wearing,
Do you
wearing
realize-
a brownie
Look
uniform.
at that monster. Look at that monster.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Always be closing.
It's an assassin.
Yes, you were
Just an assassin.
you were a David Mamet play. Desperate. These are I want the Glengarry leads. I can't sell these Milanos.
I want the Samoa leads. I
Yeah,
want
the Samoa leads. These Milanos ain't selling.
Milanos are not Girl Scout cookies, and you should know that.
I don't know.
How dare you?
Oh, by the way, no one's bought more Girl Scout cookies than I have.
Okay.
Because we have some moms here that work here that have daughter, and all I do is buy Girl Scout cookies by the bucket load.
Okay.
And I take none of them home. I don't eat them. So,
Well, you should know Milanos are not Girl Scout cookies.
okay, tell
then.
me what the cookies are.
There's Thin Mints, there's Samoas, there's that's pretty much, the Tagalongs are really good. The shortbread.
Okay.
There's the lemon ones.
I mean, it sounds like. And what was your spiel when you were trying to sell?
Would you like to buy some Girl Scout cookies?
I bet your spiel was more like you're going to buy some fucking cookies, or you're going to have a flat tire when you're done buying grapes.
And you're going to have protection from here on out. You understand?
I was smoking a cigarette outside the
You just
Albertsons.
wore a tracksuit. Tracksuit with badges on it.
Tracksuit, badges. You're smoking a bubblegum cigarette. Look here, see?
Why are you carrying a tire iron, Girl Scout?
You like having knees? Must be nice. Look, you buy some tag-alongs, and I won't be tagging along, if you know what I mean. Hey, I'm also going to sell you some Milanos. They're not street cred. These fell off a truck. Yeah, I don't think those are Girl Scout cookies. I said they fell off a truck.
Oh my
Now,
God.
David, you, it is also revealed when you saw this picture of Sona, you said, wait a minute. I must add something to
I
this.
was a scout.
You were a scout.
Yeah.
You were not only a scout, though. You
I'm
were
an
an
Eagle
Scout.
I'm an Eagle
He
Scout.
went the
Is that
distance.
that's
That's as high as you can go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
uh,
You're lucky to have us.
Yeah, I know.
So wow, both my assistants have risen in the ranks of one of the most prestigious blah blah blahs.
Look at that picture.
That's so adorable.
I think that's me holding a participation
No,
trophy.
you got a slot car. You're doing a slot car race.
That was my Pinewood Derby car that I built.
Oh, look at
And then I
David.
lost, and that's my participation
He
trophy.
got a participation
I think.
trophy.
Wait,
got
what does a participation trophy look like? I mean,
It's just smaller than the other trophies.
but is it a figure kind of shrugging?
It's a car. It's a little car.
Oh, it's a little.
Oh,
It's not
yeah.
even a car. It's just a blob.
That was a big day.
Yeah.
I can tell.
I can tell. You've
So,
never been able to
You
live
put
up
in
to
so
that
much
day.
work, and then you put your car up, and it's over in like a second.
David, you look no different. Sona looks like Sona has grown into an adult person. You look like. Look at David and look at this little boy.
I need to get the round glasses again.
I know, you should.
Oh my God,
That is so
David!
cute, David.
That's a very cute photograph. Now, what kind of badges did you get? I mean, if you went that high,
all of
I mean,
them.
it sounds like Sona just had a couple of bullshit badges. No, seriously, like you didn't stick around that long.
You didn't have any badges. If we were in nature with the two of us, we could
Yeah, we could start a fire.
we could do that. I think.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
could you start a fire? Do you think using just 2 sticks?
No, I could with a lighter.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's what they teach you in the Scouts now. With this, you need to go into the woods, and all you have is an acetylene torch
No, Sona got her
and
fire
17 pounds of beef.
badge. Sona got her fire badge from just leaving a curling iron on.
So, what about you, David?
I mean, we had to do like the camping one. The climbing one was awful because I had to rappel from like a 30-foot tower, and I was terrified. But we didn't sell cookies. We sold Christmas trees.
Oh,
That's rough.
nice.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
but
big.
wait, but did they come to a certain lot, or did you have
They
to
would-
haul a tree around?
They would come to a lot, and then the Boy Scouts, we would just sit there and sell to everyone in Carlinville.
And this is Carlinville, Illinois. Shout out
Yeah.
to Carlinville.
Yeah.
And David has told me many stories about Carlinville.
You're basically a local at this point.
No, I know all about Carlinville. I have gone on the local websites.
Yeah.
You've shown me where you used to hang out, one of the 2 places where you could hang out in Carlinville. Hey, Carlinville, Conan O'Brien here. I would love to visit Carlinville someday.
Hey.
And I
Oh, that'd be
think
fun.
I deserve a parade. That's all I'm saying.
There'll be a
Not
parade.
No, David doesn't get a
Do we
parade.
both get to be
the
on the
local.
float?
No.
No, he's a local boy made good.
David drives the float.
I'll still wave.
Yeah. And
We're
our
gonna
float
throw-
will come in second.
What is our float going to be? What
It's going to
look
be
like?
the participation float.
I love that there's a float competition for Conan to visit.
Yeah,
Oh my
and
God.
and,
Yeah,
we,
you gotta
and
make
because
that
you're
happen.
driving,
Yeah.
we get the participation.
Sona wins somehow.
I know.
I will
Brown
say this: I
uniform.
trust you both with my life, and that is that speaks well of the Boy and Girl Scouts
Yeah.
because I think you're both exemplary people. I don't say that you have great skills,
Oh, okay.
and I wouldn't go turn to you if I was lost in the woods. But you're both very good people. They gave you a good moral code.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Thanks.
So shout out to the Scouts.
oath. We took the
And
oath.
hey,
Yeah.
Scouts, get a Milano. cookie in there. There's no reason why you just can't start putting Milanos in there. And no, it's not a trademark name. And no, I haven't looked into it. Just do it. But anyway,
God.
and Carlinville, we'll be seeing you soon.
We're going to be in the paper.
You just sexually harassed a city.